What's up, guys? I want to give you a really quick tip that you can use on your next sales call. It's literally the exact opener that I personally use to open every single one of my sales calls. And what it does is it allows me to position myself as an authority on every single call that I get on. So I want to give that to you guys right now. So this way, every time you get on a sales call, you can position yourself as the authority from the very start and not have to sort of backtrack midway through the conversation. And from the very beginning, you can be the one that's controlling where the conversation goes. So guys, there are a lot of people out there have different ways that they like to open up their sales calls. Unfortunately, a lot of times people get very sort of robotic and tyrannical with it. A lot of people will do something like, so this is how the conversation is going to go. I'm going to ask you these questions, Guys, people don't like that shit because it feels like you're on a sales call. It feels like there's now in your head, there's a regimen, there's a set path that you want to take. However, you don't want the prospect to feel like they're on that path, if that makes sense. Like, you don't want them to consciously be aware of it. You just want to be taking them through it rather naturally. That's how you want a sales call to go. So if you open it with that very robotic, this is how the call is going to go, these are the questions I'm going to ask, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do that. It's not a good vibe. It doesn't have that human vibe to it, like you're actually just having a conversation, right? It feels very salesy. So me personally, I don't like to open up my calls that way. What I will do typically is start with a little bit of small talk because again, you're having a conversation with another human being. So always remember that, guys. And if you want to get better at sales, you have to get into that mindset of, I'm just having a conversation with somebody, right? So I'll start with some small talk, just kind of, hey, where you're from? And then, sometimes guys, when I'm on calls, just from where you're from, we'll go into a bunch of different stuff, and it allows me to build a ton of rapport with a prospect, which is really cool, and it sets a really positive tone for the rest of the call. So again, start with a little bit of small talk, get to know the person just a little bit. Obviously, it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to get into like your life story or anything like that, right? Doesn't have to be anything wild. So again, start with the small talk, and then just gradually, sort of seamlessly get into your opener. And the one I personally like to use a lot is something along the lines of, so yeah, whatever their name is, if their name is Bob, so yeah, Bob, typically when I get on the phone with somebody, it's usually just to see if, it's usually just to learn a bit more about your business, maybe some of the challenges you're currently facing and growing, and maybe some of your goals that you have that you want to get to within your business. And then I could talk a little bit about what we do and see if what we do is a good fit for you. And then most of the time, if you deliver it correctly, kind of like how I just did right there, the prospect will be like, yeah, that's cool with me. That's fine. Let's get into it. And then usually they'll just start talking about themselves right off the bat. Like, they'll just start telling you their background, their business, just all the good stuff, all the info you need. And then seamlessly you can start getting into the questions you need to ask. But guys, when you open up your sales calls like this, when it's just sort of casual, but yet you're still positioning yourself in the proper frame, that will make for a massively successful sales call. Obviously, there's a bunch more stuff you have to do correctly as well, right? You can't just open it correctly and then just bomb. But if you open it correctly, it helps a ton, right? So again, just to kind of recap exactly what to say. Again, number one, you start with some small talk. Just build a little bit of rapport with the person. Again, you don't want to spend too much time on the small talk because you're not there to make a best friend, right? You're there to see if you can make some business happen between you guys. So just a little bit of small talk, get into it a little bit, and then just gradually get into, Bob, whatever their name is, Bob, for example. Typically and actually, let me give you guys a little hint. Instead of saying typically when I get on the phone with somebody, say typically when somebody gets on the phone with me. Because it's very subtle, but what that does is it implies that they are wanting to be on the phone with you and it's not you trying to sell them. Okay, if that makes sense, guys. This is just a little thing you can do. Very subtle, but it does make a huge difference. So you can say typically when somebody gets on the phone with me, I take that as an opportunity to learn a bit more about your business, and I just want to know kind of what you're doing and maybe some of your goals and where you're looking to take the business, and then we can see if what we do is a good fit for you. Okay, so it's all about whether or not you guys are a good fit to work together. Right, so when you position yourself that way from the start of the phone call, it makes a huge difference, guys. Huge difference. And again, as you can see, I'm not sounding too salesy and I'm not sounding too robotic. It sounds like a human conversation. And that's exactly what you want, guys. You want your prospect to feel like they're talking to another human being. I see so many marketers and people that are on their sales calls nowadays, they're just super robotic, super salesy, and it's quite frankly kind of tough to listen to when I hear people on their sales calls. It's a little cringy sometimes, but again, guys, just try your best to get into that mindset. I'm just talking to another human being. I'm having a conversation. But again, at the same time, you do want to do those little things, like I mentioned, to position yourself as an authority, because as you know, it is huge and it's massively important that you are the authority figure on the call. Okay, I hope that makes sense, guys. I know sometimes I get, I go on little rants and stuff, but sometimes I just can't help it because I love this shit so much. So yeah, guys, hope that helps. Implement that on your next sales call, and talk to you soon. Cool.
Yeah, when you get to where I'm at, you gotta remind them where the fuck you at. Every time they talking, it's behind your back. Gotta learn to line them up and then attack. They gon' say your name on them airwaves. They gon' hit you up right after like it's only rap. Jewels look like I found